what made you go into Fortnite? Like, because the sentiment around the game is you can't make money as an esports org. There's no support. There's no. Is there? Well, if you wouldn't be able to answer it because it'll probably be NDA. But I'm gonna ask it anyway. Is there something that nobody else knows? Like, why did you decide? Fuck it, we're going into Fortnite.
I think honestly that we look at things typically about 180 degrees different than anybody else. A lot of people, and I'm hearing this a lot when I'm speaking to different leagues and looking at different new games, is everybody. I mean, when I'm saying that, I mean the team owners are usually sitting in the meeting going, "So, Epic, how are you going to make me money? How much are you going to pay me to bring in players?" We look at it the other way around. We're looking at, does this have the mechanics that we need to make money off it? Because we know how to make money. That's what we're good at. You can look at the list of partners that we have. It's significantly longer than pretty much any other esports team in the world. But we saw the grounds for doing it here. And I think we've been looking at Fortnite for a while. We've sort of been waiting and seeing, is this a fad? Is this going to go up? Is it going to go down? I still think there's a lot that could be a lot better from an Epic standpoint.
Way better.
But I still believe that they, with the monetary sort of support that they're giving in regards to prize money, etc. But I also think just the cultural push that they're giving the game gives me the platform that I need to talk to people. But look, if you look at, even in Denmark, that is the Counter-Strike kingdom. If you look at people under 16, there's barely anybody playing Counter-Strike. All of them are playing Fortnite. So for me, as much as this is me trying to make money now, this is also obviously a hedge for the future.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Google Trends, I don't know if you've noticed, I don't know if you guys searched that before you enter, but Google Trends for Fortnite is the lowest it's ever been almost. It's right there with Among Us, which is a game that, surged and then disappeared in a month. So it's like, and me, you don't know this about me because, I introduced myself as we have this podcast, but I used to compete in Fortnite at the top, and then I became a coach for a year, and I was the #1 coach in the game for a long time. And then now I'm almost fully out of it. They haven't changed, Epic Games hasn't changed. And it's like, there never has been support. What's your plan to make money out of it? And how long did it take you to decide, all right, we're going to go in?
So again, we've been looking at it for a couple of years.
Right.
I think historically we've always gone for sort of two things in games: legacy and infrastructure, basically.
Okay.
So we want to have a team or sort of a game that has shown that it's here to stay. So for example, what you see with Counter-Strike is you see something like Apex Legends comes out, the Counter-Strike player base dips, but the Counter-Strike viewer base stays continually growing.
Okay.
So we've attached playing the game from watching the game. Now it's a fundamental sort of entertainment property. I mean, imagine if only people who played football watched football. It wouldn't be the business it is today.
Right. You're so right, actually.
And Counter-Strike, we've seen that. And I think we're starting to see that a little bit with Fortnite. And with that, I mean more of even though a 16-year-old has played it for a while and doesn't play it anymore, it still influences the way he talks, the way he dresses, the way he interacts with his friends. I think that is what we were looking for.
I've been
and I think we see that now.
out of my Fortnite Balenciaga hoodie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's very much what we're looking for, because again, as long as there's context, I can put that into the machinery I already have. You have to remember, we have a 1,300 square meter flagship store right at the entrance to Tivoli, the biggest sort of theme park in Denmark. And yeah, I can tell what people who walked into that under 16 are interested in. It's not Counter-Strike as much as I would like it to be. But they go see the trophies and they know who we are. But we needed that Fortnite angle to it. So I think
okay.
If I was starting from scratch, would I start with Fortnite? Well, maybe from a marketing perspective, but not from a commercial perspective. But because I have the engine that I already have, I see a lot of potential in it. And then, I mean, I got to be honest as well. I mean, we've been looking at it for a while. We weren't planning on going into it this fast, but once you get an opportunity like Thomas, who just fits the profile of everything that we are perfectly, we had to jump at it.
Is he from Denmark?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's from Denmark. He's one of the top players. I mean, dude, they have a chance of winning Grand Royale. We're recording this as Grand Royale is happening. The first game just started. Dude, he's a close friend of mine. They're a great team. They've always had the potential. They're fucking on top right now. Great pickup. But
I think I would actually like to add one thing. I think what's very important for us is he's not famous. The context of his fame is not the fact that he's either funny or saying crazy things or
that he's
doing
good.
crazy YouTube clips is because he's really fucking good.
Yeah.
And that is what we are in Astralis. We believe in the raw performance. I mean, look at the Counter-Strike team. Our 5 Danish players who won 4 majors in a row, they were boring as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so
fuck,
Danish.
man. Our CEO just called us fucking boring.
But I mean, look, that's what
they
we
know
are,
that.
right?
They know that. Yeah, they're good at what they do. They're not entertainers. They're
historically some of the best players in the world usually don't have that much of a personality. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. They're a heat-seeking missile. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we don't take chances. We play the percentages. There's a reason why we win and win and win and win and win. And I think Thomas fits that profile perfectly for us. Does that mean that we don't want someone who's flamboyant at a later stage or add that to that mix? Of course not. That we would really love that as well. But I think he was just that perfect sort of first box because he fits into everything that we do already, and then we can start building on that.
I think that you have a really good handle on the scope of your business within the region that you exist in, as far as like, you're trying to get into Fortnite to captivate that younger generation that doesn't give a shit about CSGO. And I think that that's really important for being a more well-rounded business, you know what I mean? Because you're capturing that generation and they're going to grow up with you now because you're like the biggest team in that area. Like, I had a problem with my Windows 10 a long time ago. It was like 3 years ago. And I ended up having to call like a call center for Microsoft for them to help me. And I haven't done that in forever. So I talked to this guy, and he was younger, and I talked to him, and I was, at the time, Fortnite was huge. At the time, Fortnite was the biggest thing in the world. And I was like, yeah. And you think that because like the bubble in the space of the life you live in, like everyone else is the same. So I was talking to the guy, and he was from some part of Asia probably. And I was like, yeah, you play Fortnite? He's like, no. I'm like, do you play anything? He's like, yeah. Oh my God, I love video games. I'm like, what do you play? He goes, Dota 2. I'm like, really? He goes, dude, everyone I know plays Dota. Nobody plays Fortnite. He's like, only Dota. So it's like also understanding your industry too, you know what I mean? What's popular here might not be popular there. That's why CS:GO thrives where you're at, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think in regards to what you said about the game and the growth of it, I think the other thing that I'm looking at is from a commercial standpoint, we've commercialized the potential 2 to 4% of Fortnite, maybe. So even if the percentages goes, I mean, the total potential goes down 20%, I still have 74%, 76% to make up. So for us, there's plenty of room to grow. I mean, the only thing that I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do what I think a lot of other people did, is they went in super early and they overpaid like crazy in salaries.
That's
never going to be us.
We have that talk a lot, and I mean, we had a person on here from Enterprise Gaming. He was this. I sent you that when you asked me, like, let me see a preview of your podcast. And he was the CEO of Enterprise. He hopped into Enterprise, gave a contract, and demanded things be done. Certain hours streamed, etc. And because of the aura around Fortnite, it being kids, whatever, and people being used to being overpaid and not having to do anything, and they still get their money just because these big orgs don't care to hurt their head. They just give them money and tell them fuck off. He ended up not paying a lot of his players because they weren't doing what was contractually obliged of them, right? So like you're forced to stream 80 hours under this contract. You're only streaming 20. Why would I pay you? You know what I'm saying? You're not doing your work. A lot of orgs did that, and that's why they lost a lot of money, is because they came in and they gave people crazy salaries that didn't make sense. Yeah. They didn't make sense. There's no way you're going to make your money back. You're paying a player 12 grand who's not making content or placing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So
I think just to give you sort of an angle to that, before we signed Thomas, we ran him through a series of personality tests, IQ testing, all sorts of different things. We had 2 separate physical meetings with our sports director where we actually brought his dad as well, just to talk about, like, what is it actually going to mean to play for us? What do we expect from you? What is the scope of success in this partnership? And once we've agreed to all of that and we were happy, then we signed the contract.
Yeah.
Dude, see, now that's a lot more thorough than most other esports. I would say more than all of them. It sounds like you signed him to be a professional basketball player. Like, you had a bunch of, like, I've never heard of anyone doing that ever.
Well, that's because our sports director is a guy called Kasper Witt. He's very famous here in the Nordics, but nowhere else, because he's a famous handball player. So, Danish people, if we're not good at anything, we'll invent a game ourselves and be the best in the world at it. We'll be very proud of it. But he's like the most intense person in the whole world. Like, performance is his life. It means more to him than anything else. and he runs that sort of business. That's also, again, that's why our Counter-Strike team was as good as it was, because of the engine that he built around it. I mean, like, we have masseuses, dietitists, doctors, and everything else sort of in around the teams. So yeah, we need you to, if I, after that meeting, and I'm not bullshitting here, if I didn't think genuinely that we could lift the performance of Thomas, we wouldn't have signed him. But we needed to know that was the case, because if you were sitting there like this going, yeah, I wake up at 5 in the afternoon and I play until 4 every single day, and that's never going to change, then we would have never signed him.
Yeah. A lot of players don't realize the how important health is, how important eating right is, you know, working out, how much it helps you.
Well, they just still see it as a money grab, right? Get as much money as you can because from this stupid thing, and just get out before it's over. We need people who look at this as like a 10-year, because again, with the other teams, we do 4-year plans, typically 3 to 4 year plans.
So your contracts are that long?
Just in the next tournament. No, this one is multi-year as well.
Okay.